right. We thank the Lord this day, and I felt in my spirit that the Lord is telling me to share this message. Actually, I wanted to write it, but I'll still write it on my blog, or write it and then share it, publish it, so that people can read what the Lord is telling me to share to African countries. It is specifically to African countries, to African leaders, to the world as a whole. Whether Christian and non-Christian, it applies to you. This is your pastor and your prophet, DUODU Henry APPIAH-KORANG. We also for any for DUODU Henry APPIAH-KORANG, and and I believe that this short message is going to help our leaders. It's going to help Africans to become one people. And it just came on me whilst I was waiting on the Lord, and then whilst I was fasting, praying. The Lord is telling African countries to come up, to build up as a team. And before Africa can develop, before Africa can rise, before Africa can become more greater and more powerful, we must join as a team, as one people, as one group. And before I share this short word with you, let it all be known that I don't hate Americans. No, I love Americans. I love the Europeans. I love the Asians and all other continents. And Americans, Europeans, Asians, all the other parts of the world are in my heart. But this very strong to African countries, and it's very, very strong to leaders in various places, that it is mainly to the Africans, it is mainly to the African leaders and to all parts of the world, that if Africa can develop, then all leaders must come together and then look for the past leaders, their manifestos, their visions, the plans that they have for Africa, and the tactics that they use, or the strategies that they plan to use to develop Africa. We must come out and then search for these strategies, search for these plans, their vision that they had for Africa, for their countries, and then enforce these plans and enforce these manifestos, all their strategies. We can look up in Ghana, for example, we have Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, who was able to bring a kind of liberty or independence from our colonial masters, that is the British, the European countries. We must check their plans and what they plan to do for Africa. And what I felt, what I saw in my dream was that before Africa can come out, there must be unity and there must be strong systems to check up these things. If you look at the Americans, that is the United States of America, if you look at them, you could see that they were hardworking, and then they were people of destiny. They were more focused, and then they built a strong altar, a strong foundation of God, that their altar was now on God Almighty. If you check their currency, it is written, "In God we trust." So you have to understand that, and before Africa can become a powerful nation, a powerful continent, then we must unite and become a United States of Africa. That is another USA, United States of Africa. That is all the states, all the countries in Africa, all the leaders in Africa. They must come together as one people. We must come together as one people, and then build a one currency, a strong currency. I felt the Lord telling me this thing, that African countries, all leaders, all presidents, all head of states, whether it be parliamentary leaders, prominent leaders, religious leaders, in all African countries, we must come together and then build one currency. And this currency is going to allowed in all African countries to transact business, to build business in all our nations, in all our market centers, and then build a strong system. That system is going to check up. I'll emphasize more on this point or this revelation that the Lord gave to me. So it can be that we can still have educated people, but if their mind are corrupt, it's going to affect us. So we need people with strong moral systems who can help us build or break the chain of corruption and the chain of greediness, and then it's going to help in our system as well. So we have many natural resources. Africa has dozens of natural resources. If you can see that we have the gold, we have the oil, we have the timber, we have the diamond, we have the manganese, we have silver, we have many all kind of natural resources. So what we have to do is that if we can put in place put plans, we have prominent businessmen and businesswomen. I think the most famous one that we know as at now is Aliko Dangote. We have Kwame Despite in Africa. These are the few ones I know, and we have high big businessmen who can invest their money into Africa, where we can build our own industry, our own plants, and then we can process our own natural resources into a higher product, and then we can also import it, or we can even market it within our own corridors, within our own African countries. We open our trade centers, we open our borders. Also, although we open our borders, but there must be a security system to check the criminals who just come in to corrupt the system. So what I'm saying very simple here, that there must be a strong system and a strong market, a strong currency, one currency that will be accepted, and then we must allow our natural resources, we must process it in our own country, in our own vicinity, and then when we process it into a higher value, then we can import it and then receive a higher currency or receive a higher value for what we have done. So if our market centers are open, if our trade centers are open, if our leaders come together, if we have a strong systems, and then it is all put in place, nobody can break these systems. If you can check the Americans, the Europeans, look at their systems. What system are they using to grow their nation, to grow the economy, to grow their nation, to grow their status, to grow their business? And it can help in that way. So we can check all these things. It is going to help African countries to be one. So for example, we can say that all African countries unite, then we have our general leader, our general governor. For example, as in America, they have I think Joe Biden as their overall head or leader in all these states, and then within this we have minor states who are also going to govern various countries, various states or various nations. So there will be an overall an overall governor, an overall leader who is going to govern Africa. And it's not like a tyranny or something. No, we must get a leader who is selfless, a leader who have a strong system, and this strong system will not even be below him, it will be above him. The system itself will check that leader himself to govern the African countries, to supervise, to lead, and then to set system in place. Because what I can see that the reason why most European countries, American countries are developing at a higher pace is because they are using the technology, they are using the digital system. So if Africa can create a higher technological system, we can set up our satellite. We can set up a satellite that will oversee all African countries. Then we put in place higher technological system. For example, you see that Google is a very high-tech company. So Africa can also have its own high-tech company that will oversee the whole Africa. So we can have our Africa Tech, Africa Technology, that can have its own search engine, that can have its own process its own digital system to check, to monitor data, to set up data, to oversee all African transactions, to see African searches, so that we can put this data in places to help manage our systems in place. So it all goes in that way. So when we come together, when we put structures in place, when we are able to set up our educational system, that we look at a more feasible, a more work and practical educational system. Because if the mind is not developed, if the mind is not transformed, what you bring up, we are going to fight it. So our educational system must be put in place, and we must put away all these theories that we are coming up. So we must set up a better educational system, a practical educational system that can grow the minds of Africans, that can grow the philosophy, the psychology, the ideology, the belief system, the philosophy of the people, so that we can grow their minds. Because if a mind is educated, it can do many things but we don't need educated thieves. We don't need minds which are educated to steal, but we also plant into them moral values for them to become good leaders. But instill this moral system, the system will check them. As I said, for example, that if a lion is caged, it doesn't matter how strong or how wicked the lion is, because the lion has been caged, this lion cannot hurt others. So it is the cage that will serve as a system to check the imbalances, to check the greediness, to check the corruption, to check the malpractice. All these things can be checked, and it can help grow African countries. So the key point is that let there be a practical and a very strong educational system, and we can look at them other countries, what educational system are they using, then we can imitate them, we can practice those educational systems and then apply them in our various African countries. Because if our mind is developed, if our mind is transformed, then we can do many things and it can help us. We can also as I said, we can build institutions and educate our farmers, not just to use artificial seeds. No, we must use our natural seeds, because most often Africa is a good land. We have a vast land, we have a fertile land, so we cannot allow any kind of destructive fertilizers. We must use organic fertilizers, not something that will destroy our land. So we can educate our farmers, educate our youth, educate our people on how we can invest in these sectors, in the farming sector, in the agriculture sector, so that, because when you check the American countries, if you check the agriculture sector, it's very, very low, it's very, very short, but it's that they are producing more yield. They can even import some to different countries. So we must check the agriculture sector, because Africa has a large agricultural sector. We have the food is there, we have the land is there, we can plant, and we can use a higher tech system to grow our agricultural sector and to process our food into a higher, to a very highly valued system, so that we can also import and export some of these foods to various African countries, and if possible to the American countries and to different parts of the world. Another system that we can also try to do is that we must invest in people. We must invest people. There are people who are talented, so we can we look into our engineering sectors. We must train more engineers. You see that we can build our own cars. When it comes to Ghana like this, we have people who are building their own cars. We have a company, I think it's called how they call it, Kantaka Kantaka Cars. So Africans, we can train more engineers, we can build universities, we can build schools where these engineers will come out, and then they will train more engineers, that we can build our own aeroplanes, we can build our own jet planes, we can build our own cars, we can build our own electronic devices, than depending on all foreign material, depending on all this. No, if we can build our own televisions, our own mobile phones, our own cars, it will help in all this way. So it all goes in that way. We can build our own roads. We have engineers. We can build better roads, because if the roads are built, then it can help transport the goods, it can help transport the services, it can help transport our agricultural products, and we can store them for bumper harvest. We can store them in a high, we can build high system to help check all these things. So the media must embark on consistent study. So like the radio stations, the television stations in all villages, we can set up radio stations and then educate people on the radio. We can have people who come to the radio stations, they will educate the villages, they will educate the citizens on the importance of doing things. So as we are educating people in the radio stations, as we educate people on the television stations, it's going to be a consistent program, a daily program, a monthly program, a yearly program, every day, every hour, every minute. Then you'll be educating them, educating their mind through the media, through the internet, through various televisions, through podcasts, through many ways, so that our mind can develop. So it all goes in that. We can also Africa has a good kind of solar system. So if we can invest more into the solar panels, the solar energy, because from research we believe that the sun can produce high energy. So if we can improve on this hydro electro power, then move to a higher solar energy, and then use various channels to help supply our energy system to become more productive, to become more active in this way. Another way is that if we can open more technical and more vocational training centers. So I said earlier that we can get more engineers, we can get more people who architects who go in there, because the more we have technical and vocational institutions, we will see that it is going to build more jobs and more industrializations in our system. So we can learn more of the ICT, and then it goes in that way, because we are now in a digital world now. We are now in the global world now. So there must be more schools, more universities in our secondary schools, in our primary schools. We must get these teachers, these tutors, these lecturers to train the children in the ICT, to know more about the ICT, computer programming, computer software engineering, how they call it, computer science, to build up applications, to build up rockets. You can see Elon Musk, he's into the tech system. We can see Bill Gates is in the tech system. If you can check the billionaires of this world, if you check their industry, it is more of the digital world, it's more of the technology system. If you can see the billions companies, what they are getting is they are all into the technology system, the digital world, the e-commerce, the electronic commerce. So we can also train more people in the ICT, the information technology systems, so they can help grow our economy in that way. So we check for tried and tested systems, tried and then tested systems, system that is going to that is working, and we enforce on that system and apply them in our various towns, cities, and then nations. Is going to help us as well. So we can also send people into the American countries, the European countries, to learn from these professionals, to learn from them how they do things, because when we watch, we can do it. So We send number of people who are talented, smart people who can learn quickly. We can send people who have high intelligent quotient. They go to the American countries, the European countries, they learn from them, they watch them doing it. As they keep watching them doing it, when they come to Africa, they can produce the same results. So we must put things in place, structures in place, so that when they come, they can start working on these things. So I believe that we have many systems that we can put in place that can help build our economy. So I'm going to sit down, write, and then publish and make it a free book, a free article, so that people can learn, people can come together. Africa can do it. Africa can grow. Africa can become a wealthy country. We are wealthy. We are full of prosperity. We are full of abundance. We can do it. We can work it. We can become higher. We can grow as God has ordained us. We can become a profitable and a valuable nation, and we can become one people and then do it together if we join and if we grow as a people, as a group, as a nation, as one people, and we'll do it. Yes, together with you, with me, we can become a better nation, a better people. Because if there is productivity, if there is unity, if there is joy, if there are good systems, both Christians, the unbelievers, whether it be Muslims, Hindus, pagans, I don't know, whatever they are, if there is a structured system, then we can go out there and then do greater things in our field, in our nation. So this is the part one. Expect me to write an article, but also pray for me. You can also share this message. You can help, whatever you can do to help this ministry or this work go out there. You can help us. You can check on my blog on www.rockofheaven.com, www.rockofheaven.com, rockofheaven.com. So rockofheaven.com, and then you check on my channel on YouTube, DUODU Henry APPIAH-KORANG, DUODU Henry APPIAH-KORANG. You can connect and then share the message. It is the glory of God, it is the glory of our nations, and we can become one as a nation. So may the hands of the Lord come upon your life as we go out there to build our nation, as we go out there to become one people, as we go out there to build our system, as we go out there to build our agriculture sector, as we go out there to learn from others, as we go out there to build our own electronic device, as we go out there to put this in place, as we go out there to put prayers, to pray, to set up people to pray for the nation, to put people to break the demonic altars, as people put prayers in place, as we are praying, as we are fasting, as we are praying, we are also working on ourselves to build our better nation. So it is a powerful key that through prayers, through hard works, through technology, through a higher training system, tried and powerful system put in place, and good economy, and then good leaders in place, then we can all do it, we can all fight it, we can all build it, and we can all advance to a higher state, like the USA, like the European country. We can even advance more than them. We can even grow more than the American countries. We can even grow more than the European countries. We can even grow more than highly developed countries, and we are going to become a better nations. This is my vision for Africa. This is my plan for Africa. This is my goal for Africa, and I felt the Lord telling me to share this message and to write this message. So loved ones, this is your pastor and your prophet, DUODU Henry APPIAH-KORANG. Stay in the peace of God. Peace.